Hey, Mama. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to share something really close to my heart. For years, I spent so much time hustling, trying to make it work as both a mom and an entrepreneur. I fell into overwhelm and burnout more times than I can count because I didn't have the right beliefs or systems to keep me going when life got messy. I remember feeling torn, like I had to choose between being a good mom or building the business of my dreams. And honestly, I felt so alone in it. The guilt, the uncertainty, the fears, I've lived through all of it. But here's the good news. I've come out the other side. And while I'm still growing, because aren't we always, I found joy, peace, and trust in this journey. Now I get to take everything I've learned and experienced and share it with other moms. So you don't have to go through that same cycle of burnout and overwhelm. That's why I created something really special, a free 3-day webinar called From Overwhelmed Mom to Thriving Entrepreneur. This is my way of giving back, of holding out my hand to say, you don't have to do this alone. If you've been spinning your wheels and wondering how to grow your business without burning out, this is for you. We're going to uncover what's really keeping you stuck, and I'll share the simple, doable steps that will help you thrive as both a mom and an entrepreneur. It's happening September 16th through the 18th, and you can grab your free seat right now. The link is waiting for you in the show notes. I'd love for you to join me. Now, let's get to the show. Welcome to Radiant Mom Rising. Get ready to be inspired, empowered, and uplifted. I'm your host, Mary Dibble, and in each episode, we dive into amazing stories, insights, and conversations that help moms like you chase your dreams and embrace your worth. Let's rise and shine together. Hey, mamas, welcome back. Hope everyone's had a pretty smooth transition with school season starting. Some have been later, some have been earlier. I don't know about you all, but we've already dealt with the back to school bug going around. But it's looking up. My kids, have been exposed enough, I think, that their immune systems are pretty strong and they're bouncing back. So that's a plus. Just praying that it doesn't hit me and my husband, but we'll see. So, today's episode, we're going to be diving into a conversation that every mompreneur needs to hear because let's be honest, running a business while raising a family isn't just about passion, it's about profit. I'm joined by the incredible Olivia Watts, also known as Agent O, who grew up surrounded by entrepreneurship, built her own retail experience, and now helps family owned businesses across the U.S. manage their finances and thrive. Olivia's story is proof that when you embrace your skills, follow your passions, and stay resilient, you can build something sustainable without sacrificing motherhood in the process. If you've ever struggled with debt, worried about your business finances, or wondered how to align doing what you love with making a living, this conversation will give you both practical strategies and the encouragement to keep going. Let's dive in. Olivia, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Mary.
I'm so excited to have you. And I want to first say you recently got married. So,
Yes.
congratulations on
Thanks so
that.
much.
You're
Yes.
welcome. You're welcome. So, let's get started. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Okay, great. Well, Olivia Watts now. I'm still getting used to saying that name. My nickname online is called Agent O. So the business is Agent O Consulting, and I focus predominantly on family run, family owned businesses in the US that need help in the financial side of their business. So whether it's their QuickBooks is a mess or they don't understand, you know, these profit and loss balance sheets that they get from their CPA, or they feel like they're working super hard and have no money to show for it. And why is that? So it's that financial side of things that I help businesses with.
Which is very important. So tell us a little bit
Yes.
about your own journey and what you've experienced that led you to be able to help in this way.
Of course. Well, first of all, I always say that small business ownership is up and down my family tree. Literally, almost everybody in my family, even extended family, has either had a business or a side hustle or still does. So we are just chock full of entrepreneurial spirit. And dinner conversations in high school were related to, employee issues and customer conversations, et cetera. So it's in my blood, and it's who I like to help. There was a time when I was on the road 5 days a week for consulting, and I was all over the United States in every city. And what I found is that, you can find chain restaurants and chain retail stores and chain hotels all over the country, but it is those small businesses, whether it's a gift store or a restaurant, a theater, it's those small businesses that make that community special. Coffee shops, bookshops, I could go on. And
Yeah.
so to me, to make this country strong and thriving, it's those folks that need to also be strong and thriving. And so it's just on my heart to do this. I had a retail store myself for 18 years, and I loved the business side of it. I loved it's going to sound crazy for most people, but I loved the budgeting, the QuickBooks, paying vendors, setting up payroll, looking at our profit margin. I hated selling. It was just, I really did not care about the products that we sold or,
Yeah.
which is bad, right? Like you don't go into retail if you don't like selling. So what I quickly realized is that it's the business of business that I love. It's helping people overcome their challenges, whatever they may be. That's where my real passion lies. So
Oh
that's
man,
what I
that's
do
where it
today.
got you started, right? And that's so neat though, because it's like you don't really know until you start trying things or you're in a
Yes.
place and you see what lights you up and to be able though to take that and create your own with it, that's magical. And that's what,
Yeah.
so many people right now are really striving for. There's a lot of people out there who don't really have an idea even of like what do I do? And I notice even in my own life with like my husband, some people have a tendency of feeling like just because they've been doing something their whole life or for so long that that's all they're allowed. Like they should, that's where they should start as
Yeah.
far as like starting their own business. What would you say to that for like someone who's just like thinking about getting started and trying to explore that you have found with working with all these people that would help them in deciding where to get started?
I would say that business ownership is a complicated and challenging journey. And so it helps to do something that gives you passion, that lights you up. What I find is that successful people have something they're doing that I know it sounds cliche, but they would do it for free.
Yeah. No.
So at least their product or service is the easy part, right? So that the hard part of marketing and social media messaging and finances and all of those things that are going to be challenges, they have the bandwidth to do it because they're doing this other thing that they love. And so, I'm sure you've seen this, like there is no shortage of things you can get a course on, whether it's putting your baby to sleep, getting your dog to not bark, an excellent recipe in 10
Yeah.
minutes or less in the Instapot. I mean, these are things that I've actually either purchased or looked at purchasing because I'm like, I really,
Yeah.
I had a baby that wouldn't sleep, a dog that won't stop barking, and I'm terrible at cooking and I hate it. So it's finding those
Yeah.
things that you do like
Yeah.
so that you can share whatever that is with you, you can share that piece of you with the world. And, the world is out there going, QuickBooks is so hard and
Yeah.
balancing my checkbook is hard and budgeting, don't even talk to me about budgeting. And I'm like, I kind of like that. I think that's kind of a cool thing. And, so call me a big nerd, but I think that's what it means is do something you're passionate about, and then the success and money will follow. It won't follow easily. I'm not going to say that it will be a fast journey, but you're going to enjoy that journey
Yeah.
because you're doing something that you enjoy. And don't discount it just because it's easy for you.
Yeah.
It is not easy for everybody else.
Yeah, oh, you're right. You're right. Because that's part of what I do do QuickBooks for a landscape company and stuff. And so
Yeah.
it's so neat too, like how the different jobs and things that we have in our lives and how it actually really prepares us for our next thing.
Yes.
I don't feel like we should pigeonhole ourselves into thinking that just because we take on a job or a career or that we do start in a certain area that means we're like stuck.
Right.
I've known people who have had failed businesses because they tried something, it didn't work. But instead of just being like, okay, that's it, I'm done, I'm going back to corporate America or whatever, they are like, no, well, what can I do with what I've learned? And try
Mhm.
something else. And then they flourished and became so successful. And so it's like, that's why I love having these kind of conversations and meeting people and hearing their different stories, their different journeys, because I think we all have our unique path, and that we
Yeah.
all need to be graceful and understanding that things are, you're right, they're never going to happen always exactly as we want them to, but they're also never going to happen if we don't do anything at all. So
Yeah,
why not
absolutely.
just try and allow things to unfold in the way they're meant to and just kind of learn from it all, right? I mean, that's,
Yes.
so tell us, I also am always loving to hear about the children. How many kids do you have?
I have two, and it's a big time for us. I have one that's going into her senior year of high school, and one that's going into his freshman year of high school. So big changes happening in our household, and as a parent, there's this challenge. I have a new side hustle now. It's called the FAFSA and college apps.
Ah,
So
yeah.
I'm like starting to slowly panic. And guess what? There's all sorts of resources online for such a thing. So yeah, but for me with them, it is about teaching them to find joy. It's hard to find joy in math if you hate math and you're required to take it. But I do try to translate that into, later on you'll have choices, right? And if you get these small things down that don't feel small right now, they're building blocks for later. And constantly talking to them about, you can turn this into a business or you can turn that into a business. And what I've noticed, at least with the older one, is that she was always a good student, but she struggled with it. And then when she found a course track in her junior year, suddenly it was straight A's, and it didn't become easy, but it became enjoyable, and it
Yeah.
just lit her up. And so I'm like, when you find your thing, it really is impactful, whether you are, 16 years old
Yeah.
or 26 years old or 46 years old, it makes a huge difference.
It surely does. And oh, that's awesome. Congrats. Yeah, I have, my son is about to be a senior in high school. So I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm just so not ready. Like, it's just so crazy. But I'm so excited. I mean, he's been doing great. Like you say, when they find the
Yeah.
things that light them up, it's amazing oh, the intrinsic motivation and how they just like, see, he self-taught himself with marching band, some of the instruments
Yeah.
so that he could make it. And he did, he got it. So it's like and now he's
Yeah.
actually going to be the leader of percussions see his senior year. And I'm so excited.
That's
Yeah, I know.
amazing.
I was
Yes.
so excited. I'm so proud of him. And at first, he was a little like, he is a little nervous, but I told him, I said, you know what? I said, take this serious. I said, this is such a great skill. Being a leader.
Mhm.
You want to be an entrepreneur one day, you want to have your own gaming company and design your own games and do 3D modeling, then this is just one of those skills that you can embrace and gain some experience with, because that is so
Yeah.
important that you're going to need to take into your life. So I was like, see it that way and just have fun with it, embrace it, and just go with it. You've got this. So I love to see how us parents, how we are just with our own journeys now that we're growing and we're learning and we're doing all these things, like we're able to impact them in their
Yeah.
lives. It's so nice,
Yeah.
isn't it?
And modeling it too, right?
Yes.
Like being able to show someone, like you were talking about reinvention, finding what lights you up and then and doing that on your own, whether it's a side hustle or not, being able
Mhm.
to bring your kids into that conversation and show them what you're doing and overcoming and struggling with, et cetera. I think it makes all the difference for them to see the real thing so that they're prepared for it when they get out in the world. I try not to pigeonhole my kids into a certain career track, but I am always talking to them about entrepreneurship. Whether it's
Yes.
full-time or side hustle or whatever, it's like
Yes.
that I think needs to be a part of everybody's journey at this point.
Absolutely, because there's freedom in a way. I mean, it's still
Yeah.
like if you're ready going to be consumed with day-to-day work stuff, right? Why
Yes.
not have it be on something that you're getting something out of, that you're making the difference, that you're getting to have that ultimate decision on how things go, rather than doing it for someone else. And half the time, a lot of times, if you are in a place in a career where you're making a lot of money, they take up so much of your life and your time to earn that money.
Mhm.
Is it really worth it? Is it really fulfilling? So it's
Yeah.
like you have to kind of ask yourself that. I know I've just been all over with different types of jobs and different areas. And for me, this journey, I'm so grateful. I'm just so grateful that we live in a time where this is becoming more and more a thing. And that,
Mhm.
and I'm not saying that it's more and more a thing, but for us women especially, we're standing up and we're really getting our voices out there, and we're really
Yeah.
making, just making ourselves available for what I think was always meant for us. I just think we have limited ourselves in believing that we can't have it all, because we're moms. We got to take care of the kids. We got to take care of the household. We got to, and it's like,
Yes.
well, yeah, we got to do that, but we can also do this too. And you know what? We're bosses at it, right? We get things done. Tell me how many of you have freaking have had so much on your list, right? And then like a couple hours later, you're like, I did it. I got this done. I
Yeah.
got some time now. I can actually, sometimes we surprise ourselves if we just would allow ourselves to not be so overwhelmed by it all and from the get-go. It's just
Yes.
one thing, get it done, get her done.
I think about how much motherhood teaches you to pivot and work with what you've got and persevere and overcome hurdles. Because at no point do you say, this is too hard. I'm just going to, give up on this motherhood thing. I mean, okay,
Right.
I'm sure that happens in extreme cases, but for the most of
Oh,
us, it's like
yeah.
we might have a bad day, but we're still moms at the end of the day. And
Yes.
regardless how we feel, we know we still have to show up for this person. And so later on, when we have to show up for our clients through bad days or
Yeah.
make do with what we've got because we've got a tiny budget and a whole lot of things to get done, we're good at that because we've been doing it. Like it was just
Yeah.
something we had to do and had to learn how to do, whether we were prepared for that or
Yeah.
not. And I think that makes us amazing at this next part of our journey, just
Yes.
naturally. And we just
Exactly.
have to be confident in that, right? Like we've done this before. It may not have been in a laptop. It
Mhm.
might have been in, your kid's room or in the kitchen or whatever, but you've been there before and you've overcome these things over and over again.
Yeah.
So
I
we've got
mean,
this.
exactly. We do got this. I mean, it's like I've always hear people talking, which is true. We even work on negotiations with our toddlers. How we negotiate.
Yes.
They're little
Yes.
negotiators, I'll tell you that. But it's like having to navigate that, and especially like e- each kid, like for people who have multiple kids, like each kid is like night and day. They're so different in their own personalities. You don't know what, like you have one that can be so easy, listen so well, great, and then you have another one that's like I'm doing what? Like, no, it's like so, it's so, you're right. It really does prepare us, everything in life, even the failures within what we're doing in our business. They're not meant to destroy us or put us down. They're just meant to pivot us and help us to grow in a different way and prepare us for what's next. And I think that's such a powerful thing. And even going back to earlier with what you were saying, how there is something out there now for like anything and everything, right?
Yeah.
That should give you perspective and hope of understanding just how many different things that people are like earning a living off of by just sharing expertise, by just providing services that so many people need that you wouldn't think, like even just like sleep. Having those coaches and those people who actually are experts in sleep and can help you is so powerful, but it also goes to show you just how there's just so many options out there. There's so many things that
Yes.
we all need help with, that you have something inside of you or a gift that or something meaningful that you just have to get put out there in the world. Just put it out there.
Yes.
Somebody needs what you have to offer, you know?
100%.
Yeah. I
I
think
couldn't say it
it's
better.
I know. I love this journey. I really do. It's been, it's so eye-opening, even just being a mom. I mean, in me, I have my son who's about to be in high school, and then I have two toddlers now. So I'm having this whole new experience that it didn't start until my 30s of becoming a mom again. I mean, I've always been a mom, but you know what I mean, to having other
Yes.
kids and with a husband this time because my first experience I was alone. So it's like
Okay.
all these different things. It's amazing how it does expand you. It does help you to grow. But I'm so
Yes.
also grateful because what I have learned in ways that I thought was where I felt my firstborn, I haven't. I haven't actually.
Hmm.
If anything, it's just helped me to show up in a different way for my other kids, but I also see how well I've done with him compared to who I was when I was a teen. I tell you, that's a huge win as a mom, right? When you're like, oh my gosh, they're not even like anything like I was when I was a teen. And that's very, very rewarding.
You're like, thank goodness.
Yes. Because we do. I think that's something I see with a lot of moms is we want so much. Like we work so hard because we don't want our kids to have to, suffer in the ways that we did or experience life in the way that we did. And although it's like one of those things we can only control so much. Sometimes we have to also be
Absolutely.
understanding and open that our kids are going to probably experience some things that we're not going to be so happy about. But at the same time, it's as part of their journey too. And all best that we can do is love and support them and try to help them bounce back through all of it. We
Yes.
hope for the best, absolutely, but we also need to prepare for the worst. I mean, it's just how it is, right?
Well, and we want to make their lives easy, but yet we know that there's if we look back, right? Like so I turned 50 this year, so I'm doing a lot of looking back because it's a milestone birthday, right? And so I
Yes.
think about the things that I went through, whether it was a mistake of my own or just happened, if it was just
Hmm.
life. But those things taught me stuff, right? And
Yeah.
so if I remove all of those teaching moments out of my kids' life, then they don't get to learn and grow. So it
Hmm.
is really hard because you don't want them to fall down, you don't want them to experience pain, but yet those challenges are actually what shape them. So
Yeah.
it's a very hard balance, and I'm not super great at it, but I
Who
recognize I need to be
is?
better.
Who is though? I guess I think we us moms need to give our this is where I say give yourself some grace. We are humans. Like we are all trying to figure
Yes.
this thing out. And that's why it's so cool to come together and talk about things because sometimes people can give you perspective or, certain tips that worked for them that you're like, "Ooh, I never thought of it like that," or I never was able
Yes.
to. And instead of feeling like, "Oh, it must," you feel almost like it's just me. I'm the only one dealing with this. No, you're not. Everyone has their own, I mean, not everything is
Yeah.
exactly alike, but they have similar experiences as well and struggles. And it's so nice to talk about these things because it is real. It's our and I love your perspective because you're right. We can't deny our kids those experiences because Lord knows we don't want to raise entitled kids either who can't handle the real
Right.
world and fall apart and expect
Right.
everything to be handed to them. You got to show them. I mean, it's crucial to them really growing into good adults for themselves and to make the lives where you can, yes, fly from the home and you're good.
Yeah, right. I mean, that is success, right? When they leave you and they are, full adults that can stand on their own and withstand and overcome challenges and live their life on their own terms, then you've succeeded, which is sad because then they're gone,
I
right? So
know.
so it's like our ultimate goal is to miss them, I guess
Yeah,
is a way to put it. And I don't know, I guess that's the beauty of parenthood. So
it
I'm
is, right?
excited. I'm excited for them. I'm excited for their future. Technology is something I do a lot with my clients, and
Yeah.
there's so many ways you can leverage technology now. I cannot imagine what it'll be like
Oh,
when
I
they turn
know.
50. Like, what is that business world going to look like for them? And it's like, wow,
Wow.
I can't even
That's,
imagine it. It's going
I
to be
know.
fun.
Yeah, it's powerful, right? I mean, it's growing so rapidly, and it's like,
Yes.
wow. I mean, and I mean, tell us like if there is someone, because I know you really work with people in the brick and mortar
Hmm.
area. So tell us, like, if somebody is interested in that world, is there any kind of tips, advice that you would love to share with them as far as like managing that?
100%. So I try to get to people early and talk about the dangers of debt, right? Like,
Yeah.
don't, the it is better to grow slowly, to not take on that debt if you can, and to recognize when you can leverage that debt in a good way and when you can't. So the faster I can get to somebody that's starting out, the better. And if they already have debt, then to get to them and get serious about getting rid of it. Those are areas that is one of my soapboxes.
I
The
love it.
other soapbox is that profit is not a dirty word. You can't be ashamed to make profit. In the brick and mortar world, they can be a little afraid to raise prices, but all of us have seen what prices have done in the last 5 years, 10 years.
Yes.
How far back do you want to go? And so when I walk into a business and they haven't raised their prices since the 90s, I'm like, okay, listen, we have to talk. We have
Yes.
to do some serious conversation because that could be why they're struggling financially, is because they're just not allowing themselves the healthy profit that they need to have. And so those are my two big ones, right? It's like, don't be
Yes.
afraid to raise your prices when it's needed, and be afraid to go into debt, right? So those
Yeah.
are, I guess, the two boiler, nutshell bullet points that I talk to everyone about. And then from there, there's options, right? There's lots of
Yes.
options.
There is. And I love that because I mean, especially like in the coaching world, I see that so
Mhm.
much with a lot of the people I work with, or even just am involved with in programs. It's like always the prices. That's always what they're so afraid of because they're either super worried that their prices are too high a lot of times that people won't buy, or that they're just too low and they're providing too much, value. And it's so
Hmm.
important that you get to a point where you really like I like what one person says about like really figuring out what feels easy for you. Like what feels
Hmm.
easy for you in the beginning. Like don't worry about what anyone else is doing. Like what feels easy is that you can be like, this is my price and you
Yes.
feel good about it, you feel confident about it, and then go with it because regardless of what anyone else is doing, if it's easy for you, then it's going to be easier for you to show the confidence in when you're delivering it on that call. And then from
Absolutely.
there, you grow and you start seeing the value through the transformation, through the work that you're doing with this person and or the people that you have. And from there is where you can learn to grow and evolve and raise in prices, as you get the experience behind you. But so I agree
Yes.
completely with that. And that's part of a lot of the money mindset, issues
Yes.
and blocks that a lot of people have. And hey, if you're listening and that's you, you are not alone. We all have been there. We all are always constantly working to grow because think about it, your whole life you've believed, I grew up poor. So I was taught and conditioned for so much that money doesn't grow on trees and that you have to work really, really hard in order to just barely survive. Like that is really what
Ah,
I was
yes.
taught and was role modeled for me. And I've literally been doing that since I was 15. Like I was always working, hustling, bustling my butt. And for what? Barely surviving. And I got to the point where I was like, no, this can't be it. I know I'm meant for more. And I'm just grateful that I made the decision to explore that. That's all. I just
Yes.
went and explored it and just allowed, just tried things out. And then here I am. And I'm loving it. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Yes.
and I'm excited for you, Olivia. I think it's amazing that you've been able to turn something that you love into your own thing and you're helping so many people because you're right, the small businesses, that's where it's at. And we need to support that.
Yes.
I'm all about supporting the small businesses in any way that I can. So the fact that you're able to really go in there and help them shape their financial future and get going and maintaining and learning how all the ups and downs of it all, that is
Yes.
incredible. And if anyone is listening right now who would be interested to talk more with you, where is the best place for them to find you?
My website is where I try to keep the most up-to-date things. So that's
Okay. Yeah.
agentoconsulting.com. But I'm also on Facebook. I try to get out there. I don't do a ton on social media, but I do try to pop my head into places. Um, but yeah, on my website, I talk about, like the easy ways to work with me that, if they're interested and they want to learn more, there's, things we can do at the beginning that are quick and not expensive and a great diagnostic place to begin.
Oh, I love that. And that is important. Like there's nothing there to me, that is the smartest way to go about it before really getting
Mhm.
started. Like you really want to get that understanding. So many people think that they can just do it all on their own and kind of and not that you can't. I'm not saying that that's that you can't, but it's so much harder than
Mhm.
when you allow yourself to learn from people who've been there, done that, because they
Yes.
can really save you so much headache and so much disappointment by just educating you and showing you like what worked for, because a lot of these people that we follow or that we learn from, they were there too. They all started somewhere. They all struggled for years, like trying to build who they are today. So it's like when you
Yes.
really get to hear how they pushed through all that, how, and learn also from some of the things that did work from them when it wasn't working for them, and then apply it in your own way. It really can, it moves things for you in ways that you never thought possible. And it helps you to save you so much more time than just expecting to just work it out yourself. And like I said, again, it just depends on your like where you're at and your timing and what you're okay with, because I think of so many people in today's world, they just want it now, now, now. And yet
Yes,
yes, I mean
yes.
instant
Between the
gratification.
microwave, between the microwave and Amazon, right? We are all spoiled.
Oh yeah.
I did hear one coach one time say, trade dollars for decades, right? So, in other words, take me and my 25 years experience in day-to-day QuickBooks training, right? And if you want to do your own books, do your own books, but pay me to look over your shoulder and say, hey, you're on the right path, or hey, you're doing some things here that maybe they look right, but they're not going to be right for you in the long run. I don't do day-to-day bookkeeping for people, but I do like to do these reviews where I say, hey, you're doing everything right. Or I look over and say, hey, you got everything right, but these three things that you really need to fix now. That's how I like to work with people is to help give them that confidence that, because so many family run businesses are doing their own book work. and,
Yeah.
they can't afford another option, but they can put an investment of a small amount of money and time into, am I doing this right? And
Yeah.
so,
And that
yeah,
makes such a
it's
difference.
reassurance. Yes.
Exactly. And it just saves you. And it's so much time and headache when, even tax time comes around. I mean, that's such a pain.
Oh,
That's
yes.
such, that can be such a pain right there for, especially when you're not educated and you don't really understand these things. So, anyone who's really in business, like that's the thing. Especially when you're getting started, you do have to wear all the hats. Yes, you're
Yes.
passionate, you love doing the actual thing you do or selling the actual product you sell. But at the end of the day, when you're just getting started, you do have to also be the HR person, be the customer service rep, be the, be the salesperson, be all the things, be the bookkeeper, be, all of that. And
Right.
there's no shame in asking for help where you can and educating
Yeah.
yourself so that you're the so prepared for it all and you go about things in the best manner so that you get that success sooner than later, but also have that grace to understand it does take time, and that is okay. That is actually
Hmm.
better than okay. Enjoy this time that you have on your own and in a little bit more freedom in a way, because it's a different type of freedom and a different type of challenge on each level, right? It's like as
Yes.
you grow more and more, you have more people under you that you become, have to grow a team and you're responsible for. It's just a whole different thing. And I
Yeah,
think it's important that
absolutely.
we really like start having that perspective as well of not trying to rush things, you know?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
uh,
Good things take time.
it does, it does, it does. Well, Olivia, I would also love to open the floor. Is there any final piece of advice that you would love to share with moms today?
Oh, well, yes, I would say that you're enough, right? I spent years thinking, "Oh, I'm just a mom." That phrase used to sing over and over in the back of my mind. I'm just a mom. And then someday, I don't even remember where I was. It was probably like a Mother's Day at church or something when it was like, "Oh my gosh, I am a mom," right? Like that's the just part is a complete lie, right? And that that alone is enough. And people do build businesses. Like I said, they have passions, they have things that they think are easy, or, they are easy. And so it's easy to discount that and say, well, all I know how to do is bake, or all I know how to do is sew, or all I know how to do is clean my house really well, or get my kid to sleep, or keep my dog from barking, right? And all of those things are easy to that one person, but they're not easy to the rest of us. Like, do not
Mhm.
hand me glitter and glue and a toddler and say, make a craft. I will hate you for the rest of your life. Like I just, there are things I can do. There are things that I cannot do.
Yeah.
Do not make me bake sale something. Oh my gosh, I'm a bake sale buyer, not a bake sale maker. So it's like it's enough, right? Those, if you are stepping out in the world, doing your thing, and you're juggling motherhood, that is amazing, right? And give yourself the grace to say that you are enough and that you are doing great things, even if that's all you're doing, because that season of life
Yeah.
sometimes babies is that's all you got.
Yeah.
So
And it goes by so
um
fast, right?
it does go by fast. And then you have high schoolers and you're like, oi,
Yeah. Yeah.
what do I do now?
Oh my
So
God.
yeah, but I still sometimes struggle with that. Like, oh, I'm just a
Yeah.
mom and I just do this QuickBook thing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
dang it, QuickBooks is not easy to everybody,
Mm-mm.
and there's thousands of things like that. So just
Yeah.
get that just word out of your brain because
Yes.
you're enough no matter what it is you're doing.
Absolutely. And somebody out there needs what you have to offer. Like, and
Yeah.
you like you say, I mean, I completely feel you on so many of that that I'm like, I'm not good at this and that. I mean, but I have my specialty. I have my superpower. We all have
Yeah.
our superpowers, no matter how simple it may seem. Sometimes
Yes.
it's everything that someone else needs. And so yeah, I love that. I love that. And talk about a way to explore for anyone out there who's thinking about starting a business. That's a fantastic way to start exploring. What is something that feels easy to me that may not be for someone else? I mean, that
Yes.
right there is a great, powerful
Exactly.
question to answer and then see what comes up. Love
Yeah.
it. Oh,
And like I said, I do work with mom and pops and family run businesses, but I also really have heart for the startups. So I do have free resources out there for people that are like, I don't even know what profit is or why I need it, how to get
I
it.
love that.
There's some free things out there that just are kind of basic primers, places to begin when you're exploring this so that you get started on the right foot.
Oh, that's amazing, Olivia. Thank you for what you do. It's
Thank
truly
you.
needed. It really is. Like bookkeeping's a pain. I know I know it personally. It can
Yes.
be fun, but it also is very challenging of really understanding, expenses and all that stuff that pay vendors and dealing with all that and getting it all right in the books and really labeling it the proper way and all that stuff. So it's
Yes.
so much, and I think you should feel so amazing that you get it in a way that so many struggle and that you're here to help them. Because that is a big deal. It
Yes.
really is a
Thank
big deal.
you.
So yeah, well, thank you. And again, congratulations on getting married.
Oh,
I'm
it's
so
been a big
excited for
year.
you. I know, look at you. I know that's amazing. And I wish you all years and years and years of happiness together. So I'm
Thank
very
you.
excited for you. And thank you so much for being part of the show.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
What an amazing conversation with Olivia. I love how her story reminds us that no matter what financial challenges you faced, you can create profit, stability, and freedom in a way that aligns with your values and your family's life. Here are the key takeaways from today's episode. You can overcome financial struggles like debt. It doesn't have to hold you back forever. You must prioritize profit. Your business deserves to thrive, not just survive. You have valuable skills, even ones you may overlook, that others are willing to pay for. You can balance both business and family while doing what you love. It doesn't have to be either or. You are shaping your children's future by modeling persistence, passion, and resilience. You deserve to give yourself permission to grow and learn. There's no failures, only lessons. You get to create financial freedom and stability for your family by pursuing your purpose. You are capable of building a business that works for you, not against you. You don't have to settle for struggle. Profit is possible, even in small family-owned businesses. You already have skills that are valuable. Sometimes it just takes the right strategy and mindset to unlock them. A huge shout out to Olivia. If you want to connect with her and learn more about what she's doing, you can find her info in the show notes. And because I know so many of you are ready to step into your next level, I want to personally invite you to my free 3-day webinar happening September 16th through the 18th. Over 3 powerful days, I'll help you create clarity, shift your mindset, and build strategies that will allow you to grow your business without sacrificing your peace or your family. You can learn more and save your seat today using the link in the show notes. I can't wait to see you there. And if you're ready to start right now, head on over to marydibblecoaching.com to schedule your free consultation call. Let's connect. I'll get to know you better, and together we'll bridge the gap between where you are and where you desire to be. Thank you so much for tuning in, mamas. Remember, you're not just building a business, you're building a legacy, and you're more capable than you realize. Until next time, much love.